San Jose State's Associated Students announced the new student government officials. We'll find out who won.
And a political rights advocate comes to SJSU. Hear reactions from the community.
Also, parking meters are causing trouble downtown. We'll discover why people are getting upset. Update News starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at San Jose State University, your source for what's happening with a fresh perspective on today's issues. You're watching Update News.
Hello and welcome to Update News. I'm Rebecca Lapena.
And I'm Abraham Rodriguez. Thanks for joining us.
Associated Students has wrapped up their election for next year's cabinet. The results were announced yesterday out in front of the Carlos and Smith statues. John Marinero has the exclusive on the winners.
The Associated Students election culminated yesterday in a garden party in front of the Tommy Smith and John Carlos statues, where they called out the names of SJSU's new student government. The previous Director of External Affairs for the AS, Lulu Amante, will be the next president, with Joshua Romero as vice president and Matthew Dewada as controller. Hugs were given and tears were shed in happiness as Amante walked to and from the stage.
I've worked so hard in my current position as Director of External Affairs and campaigning. I had really competitive opponents, and it just really perseverance, patience.
The election as a whole has the student government grinning from ear to ear with a higher turnout than last year's drive. The statistics on the turnout won't be finalized until next week.
Issue that we face as a student body is trying to collectively get the students more engaged. So we did get more students to vote this year than last year, which we were very proud of.
The new year brings new challenges, and the student body is looking for forward progress.
Open an undocumented student resource center, because there isn't one, and all of the undocumented students that go here don't have any place to go to get information that they need.
For now, happiness surrounds the incoming cabinet members, especially the new president.
I'm excited for this new board and excited for this new year to come.
With the election now finished, we wait to see what the new administration will bring to San Jose State University in the coming year. John Marinero, Update News.
San Jose State hosted its annual Human Rights Lecture event last week. This year's lecture focused on the human rights, racism, and a police state. More than 500 people filled Morris Daly Auditorium for a keynote speech delivered by renowned political scientist, activist, Dr. Angela Davis. The speech was titled Inequality and a Role of Resistance. It focused on racism in today's society and equality in police violence. Sociologists.
Every generation has an obligation to fight its struggles. And because of what Angela did in the 60s and 70s, this generation doesn't have to do that. But they have to fight their own struggles.
Harry Edwards is known to SJSU as a former athlete here and for leading the Black Power salute in the 1968 Olympics with track stars Tommy Smith and Juan Carlos. He is a long-term advocate for civil rights.
Spartans for Israel, a San Jose State student involvement organization, hosted a series of events this week. The presentations were in honor of Israel's Memorial Day, April 22nd, and Independence Day, April 23rd. Marimar Archoa has the story.
2 Israeli student soldiers from the nonprofit organization Stand With Us spoke to SJSU students on Tuesday. Stand With Us operates on the principle that education is the road to peace. The group travels throughout the U.S. informing the public of Israel's ongoing war against extremism.
Israel is faced with a very special circumstance that no other country in the world is faced with. They're under constant threat from the neighboring countries.
Student soldiers Kokit and Sleo, whose last names will remain anonymous, say it is important to recount their personal experiences in serving the Israeli Defense Force. They say they want students to know they are people like anyone else.
People will know more about Israel, not on any specific issue about Israel, just to expose Israel as we see it, as young citizens in Israel, as students.
Also in commemoration of Israel's Memorial Day, Spartans for Israel hosted a seminar on Tuesday where they presented the movie Beneath the Helmet. The film is a coming-of-age story which follows the journey of 5 students in the Army.
Events like these really give us the opportunity to meet the people who are there, who are on the ground, and to share their story, and to really, inspire us and show us what the real world is like.
And on Thursday, in honor of Israel's Independence Day, the organization tabled on campus where they celebrated with a large wooden wall where students were free to express themselves with art. They also gave away free t-shirts decorated by some of their group members. Organizers say they want the people to see Israel through their eyes and be aware of the holidays celebrated in their home country. On campus, Marimar Ochoa, Update News.
Parking in downtown San Jose is already a hassle, but with the new high-tech meters, parking tickets may become more common. These meters accept credit cards along with cash to make it more convenient for people to pay. But people in San Jose have been getting tickets even though they have put enough money in their meter. The Mercury News reported that the meters will reset themselves if a big truck drives by. This causes the once full meter to go back to zero.
It's not fair the parking meters reset. Parking out here is already difficult as is.
Some people are now taking pictures of the time they have on the meters to prove that they did have enough time in the meter. The city of San Jose is working to fix this problem.
Google changes priorities this Tuesday. The search engine is testing out prioritizing mobile phone-friendly websites. George Tanner has a story.
Cell phones have become a common place to surf the web. People have their own reasons for choosing to search the web on laptops or phones.
I would prefer using my cell phone because it's just it's very accessible.
So I usually use tablets. I don't really like using computers because they're really big.
Cell phones are okay for me, but usually the screen is small. You know, it's not so comfortable using my thumb to kind of use a keyboard. I think laptops are so much easier to kind of browse through the internet.
But some websites have not adjusted to the shift.
I can't tell you the number of times that I've gone on a site on my phone and the user interface simply doesn't scale to the phone. So when you zoom in, it shrinks and you can't press any of the buttons without pressing the wrong one.
Cell phone-friendly websites need to be responsive or shrink proportionally to any size screen. This enables graphics on websites to not be cut off, whether it is viewed on a computer, tablet, or cell phone. So effective this week, Google search results are showing responsive websites first and other websites later.
You want your end users to be able to get what they want out of the site within 10 seconds, or at least get to the general area that they need to get.
Google provides a mobile-friendly testing tool. Any URL typed in will be verified as responsive or not.
To test out your website, search mobile-friendly tests on Google. On campus, George Tanner, Update News.
Earth Day is no longer considered as a hippie movement, but now as a global recognition of the desperate need to take care of the planet. Update News reporter Brenda Nori is live to tell us more about the 45th anniversary of Earth Day. We have her live on campus with the story. Brenda?
Here on campus and social media, Earth Day was celebrated in a big way. The founder of Earth Day was Gaylord Nelson, an SJSU alum. The green movement has come far, but not far enough. The Environmental Resource Center at San Jose State University partnered with Spartan Shops and associated students to bring the earth and community together Wednesday. The Earth Day Fair featured many vendors that promote environmentally sound practices.
Every time we sell any item, we plant 10 trees around the world, and we donate to our partner biannually.
Spartan Shops motivate students to be part of the mug life with the cornhole toss for free swag.
If you bring a reusable mug to any of our eateries on campus to get coffee or tea or Jamba Juice, you get 50 cents off your purchase.
Earth Day offered a petting zoo, recycled fashion, an innovative bike, and free BPA water bottles. This all encouraged students and guests to learn a bit more about being Earth's friend.
It's really important that the public gets to be in the loop about what's going on in the world, all these efforts that are being made to promote sustainability.
Guest speaker Tia Nelson highlighted her connection with her father, who founded Earth Day 45 years ago. She told the audience how we can continue efforts to make every day Earth Day.
The essential thing is that we have a conversation about solutions and that we work in new and innovative ways to address the environmental challenges of today.
The job is not done. Any action toward helping the environment is a positive one. Remember to conserve water during our drought, bike instead of drive when possible, and join a creek or trail cleanup. Live on campus, Brenda Nori, Update News.
Thanks, Brenda. And now we have Kayla Novak with the upcoming weather we should expect in the Bay Area.
Thanks, guys. Spring has come into full effect and drought conditions have stayed the same, so continue to conserve that water this week. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Bay Area highs for this week. Temperatures are going to be warmer this week with highs in the 80s in Sacramento, low 80s in Napa Valley, high 60s in San Francisco, low 70s in San Mateo, low 70s in Santa Cruz, high 70s in Hayward, mid 70s in South Bay. That marine layer is going to stick around on the coast this week, and we're going to get sunny in the East Bay and onward. Let's go ahead and take an even closer look at San Jose for the week. Sunday, as that low front is moving out of our area, we're going to have a high of 73, low of 51, and then temperatures are going to start to warm throughout the week with 78 on Monday and low of 53. Tuesday, those temperatures will continue at 78 and low of 52. Thanks, and back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Kayla. When we come back, we'll have Heather Miller here for Arts and Entertainment.
And we'll show you how universities are trying to raise awareness of domestic violence.
Also, a comic book convention is a preview to the upcoming Bay Area Comic Con coming in 2016.
And later, a famous Chicano play written by a San Jose State alum is being revived. Stay with us. Update News will be back in a moment.
The Sigma Alpha Zeta sorority of San Jose State hosted a Domestic Violence Awareness Week. The Zeta philanthropy concentrates on raising awareness against domestic violence on campus and in our communities. Marimar Ochoa is live to tell us about the story. Marimar?
Thanks, Abe. On campus this week, Sigma Alpha Zeta joined the fight against domestic violence. Members hosted events to combat this exact social problem.
The sisterhood held Pi Sigma Alpha Zeta Sister, where sorority members took one for the team. They charged $2 a pie toss. On Wednesday, they sold brownies as well as showed the movie Enough to advocate for women to stand up to domestic violence. Community and Philanthropy Chair Suli Flores says Sigma Alpha Zeta will be donating the funds raised to the YWCA, an organization dedicated to empowering women and promoting peace.
This week, we started on Monday. It's our Philanthropy Week, which we stand for domestic violence awareness, and we try to raise funds to then donate to the YWCA of Silicon Valley. Last semester, we donated, I think it was around $300.
The National Coalition Against Domestic Violence says that 1 in 3 women have been victims of some form of physical violence by an intimate partner within their lifetime. And on college campuses, the women's rights guarantee Title IX that has been in place since the 1970s was modified 4 years ago to encompass sexual violence. Title IX now requires that all government-funded schools have a representative present to handle any sexual violence case.
They said universities, you know how when we said it was sex and gender-based discrimination and sexual harassment, well, now we want you to include sexual violence.
Sigma Alpha Zeta worked all week long benefiting the YWCA. On campus, Marimar Ochoa, Update News.
Students going into journalism, PR, advertising must learn to do it all. That's the word from industry experts this week at the Spuler Integrated Communications Summit. The Spuler Integrated Communications Summit drew a sold-out crowd to the Student Union Ballroom on Wednesday. The yearly seminar brings professionals from the communications industries. 9 experts spoke on the merits of integrating social media and graphic design elements into PR, advertising, and journalism.
So it's to incorporate all students in the field of communication and get them some outside insight from professionals in the field.
Diaz and classmates from her special event management class wanted to have professionals inspire students. The new strategies students learn can make them more competitive in the job market. This year, the school brought professional journalist Ian Coe. He said a professor advised him on the coming wave of being a single reporter doing every job.
He said, when you get started, this is going to be the way of the industry. And in my first market, and my second market, and my third market, that was true.
Cole says students wanting to get into the broadcast industry will have to be comfortable doing every part of production and filming to be desirable in the industry.
A lot of the first jobs, even second jobs, maybe even third jobs are going to be as a reporter and photographer for a lot of people, and even in big markets like the Bay Area, which is designated market area number 6.
The Communications Summit concluded with a small job fair that brought 14 companies to the ballroom.
If you were walking to class at 1:30 Monday, you may have been stopped by a group of dancers. This was not just a dance for fun, it was to raise awareness for cancer research. This flash mob was in 7th Street Plaza and lasted only 2 minutes. SJSU's Sigma Chi fraternity members were the culprits of this dancing group. Sigma Chi, along with the sororities, were raising awareness for money for the Children's Miracle Network and the Huntsman Cancer Institute. Spectators were encouraged to stop by the Greek houses to make a donation.
You're really working toward a greater good with everybody involved in the Greek life. You guys are donating. You're donating to a great cause to organizations such as Huntsman Cancer Institute and Children's Miracle Network.
Students and supporters also bought balloons for $1 to show their support. Last year, Sigma Chi raised $10,000, and this year's fraternity is expecting more.
We have Heather Miller here with us with Arts and Entertainment.
So can you tell us about the convention this weekend in San Jose?
Of course, and with the Arts and Entertainment as well. Rows of toys, stacks of comics, lines of fans, and plenty of fun for everyone. Big Wow Comic Fest was back in San Jose last weekend for one last time. Cato Guzman has the story.
San Jose's very own comic convention, Big Wow Comic Fest, was held at the San Jose Convention Center Saturday and Sunday. There was something for everyone, from toy collectors seeking out that perfect action figure to comic book collectors looking for rare first prints. Fans lined up to meet some of their favorite cosplayers dressed up as some of their favorite characters.
It seems like every year it just seems to get bigger and bigger.
Comic conventions are a place for fans of all types to bump elbows. Attendees can see a xenomorph, a Frankenstein, or meet some of their favorite artists. It is the biggest comic convention in the Bay Area.
Big Wow, I like it because it's local. It's easier to get to than Comic Con San Diego.
San Diego Comic-Con is the biggest convention overall, and every year tickets sell out. Next year, Big Wow will be joining the official Comic-Con International family and become Silicon Valley Comic-Con, with the help of Steve Wozniak, engineer and co-founder of Apple, and comic book legend Stan Lee.
It helps expand this sort of culture, but also when it's too crowded, it can be hard.
While some fans are skeptical about the crowds next year and the watering down of the comic book flavor, Silicon Valley Comic-Con promises to combine technology with the comic book industry and bring geeks and nerds together for the ultimate convention. San Jose, Cato Guzman, Update News.
Many of us are guilty when it comes to throwing away things. We toss food into the landfill and clothing. Buy it, wear it a few times, and toss it. But in celebration of Earth Day, the Associated Students held the 7th annual Trash and Fashion Show in the Campus Village Quad, trash being the operative word.
Get to showcase their clothes, and then we also have a section where student designers get to make up garments made out of 80% recyclable material.
Fellow Spartans strutted down the catwalk wearing clothing made of recycled material from AS events and featured outfits from local thrift stores as an alternative to recycle fashion and protecting the planet. 2 choir groups at San Jose State University have received the honor to perform at Carnegie Hall in New York. The performance will be held this coming Monday. The concert choir is practicing in preparation for Monday's performance at New York's Carnegie Hall. Jeffrey Benson has been teaching choir at SJSU for 4 years. He has taken groups to perform in many places around the world, but this is a chance of a lifetime.
It'll be not only the San Jose State Choir's debut there, but also my conducting debut at Carnegie Hall, so I'm really excited.
They will be combining with other groups from across the country to create a 220-person choir.
And the larger choir, our concert choir, is that was a set song. That was the Gabriel Fauré Requiem that we're doing.
The choir raised more than $10,000 on GoFundMe. Benson is nervous but says his group is well prepared.
I just have been really excited to see, our students and our singers here really grow and work toward this incredible opportunity for us all. So it's been a really fun experience preparing for it.
If you are interested in seeing choir shows, check out the SJSU events calendar or visit the School of Music and Dance in the Music Building on campus. The curtain went up on San Jose State's production of Zoot Suit this week, one of the more recognized works of San Jose State alumnus Luis Valdez. In his remarkable career, he brought theater to frameworkers in Northern California fields. And now, once again, he's returning to San Jose State roots. David Taub has the details.
One of the most iconic plays of Chicano theater made its debut Thursday on the San Jose State University stage. Zoot Suit portrays the social atmosphere between whites and Latinos in 1940s Los Angeles. The play follows the Sleepy Lagoon murder trial. Zoot Suit placed the spotlight on the difficulties of being a Chicano. Director Kenan Valdez hopes his adaptation of the original play can make just as big of a social impact today as it did 50 years ago when his father wrote it.
Quite fantastic to come back to an educational institution and share that with the next generation of theater artists. So I take great pride both as a son and also as his protege.
The father of Chicano theater, Luis Valdez, sat down with us and discussed everything from the United Farm Workers movement to his son taking on the project.
I'm very, very proud of Kenan, and what he's going to do with Zoot Suit this time around, I don't know. I'm anxious to see it tomorrow, when I see it, because it'd be a big surprise to me. But he's always full of ideas. He's a wonderful director.
Students have been working on this production since the beginning of the year.
Experience working with students has been absolutely fantastic. I work with theater students in various places, and I have to say that San Jose State students are super committed to the art, and it's been really exciting being around all that enthusiasm, that dedication to the craft.
This is not the last you'll see of Kenan and Luis Valdez. They hope to continue to highlight social movements through their work here in San Jose. The play will run through May 2nd at the San Jose State University Theater. On campus, David Taub, Update News.
And that's all the arts and entertainment that I have for this week. I know that for sure I'm going to see Zoot Suit though.
Yeah, I actually saw the line and it was wrapping around the building, so it looks like it was really popular.
Yeah, it's a really popular show, not just in San Jose, but all across the country. So we're really privileged to have it here on campus.
Perfect. Thanks, Heather. When we come back, we'll have David Taub to bring you sports.
And we'll have a look at the fight Santa Clara soccer players are putting up against Levi's.
Also, Spartan football players are preparing for the biggest day of their lives. We'll learn why they're anxious.
And later, a club team just played their last game of the season. Find out how they do. Update News will be back soon.
We have David Taub with us now to bring you the latest on sports.
Thanks, Rebecca. Let's dive right into it. The San Francisco 49ers want to take over a Santa Clara youth soccer park, but soccer leagues that play on the grass are calling foul. The Santa Clara Youth Soccer League and the Santa Clara Sporting Club came together Tuesday to protest the proposal. The 49ers say they would like to eventually replace the field with a new facility for athletic events and VIP parking. But the soccer team says they are outraged to see the 49ers break their initial promise to provide a soccer league with an alternative place to play. The 49ers are now offering $15 million for the 11-acre facility, but the youth team says that is a fraction of what it's worth. The closing of the field would mean the soccer teams would have no place to play.
We need the fields because every single kid that's here loves soccer and we all love to exercise.
The Santa Clara City Council has yet to make a decision and says it is evaluating all sides. The NFL Draft is coming up next weekend. Update News reporter Dustin Dorsey has been catching up with a few hopeful Spartan players. More on that, let's go to him in the newsroom. Dustin?
Thanks, David. Football players work their entire lives for the NFL Draft. The 3-day event is when college football players get selected by NFL teams to become professional athletes. For the senior class of Spartan football players,
from the start of their freshman year to now, SJSU Spartans have been working and training for the chance to make the National Football League. Next weekend, these athletes will wait for their names to be called. The athletes say the NFL can expect good things from them.
You know, they can expect what they see on tape. You know, a high motor guy who leaves it all on the line every play, and you know, strong, tough player.
Travis Ricidi is expected to be the only player from San Jose State to be drafted, according to several NFL experts. Other players that may be signed as free agents include safety Akeem King, who could play many roles and appeared on NFL Network's Game Changer show with Steve Mariucci, and safety Forrest Hightower.
You know, I'm a very positive person and most of all, confidence. I'm confident in my abilities.
Hightower is a multi-position athlete that can return kicks and punts. These are just some of the players that will try to make their NFL dreams a reality on draft weekend. As they look to the future, we asked them to look back on some of the highlights of their time as Spartans.
The BYU game my sophomore year when Keith Smith jumped over somebody and forced a fumble and my buddy Vince Buhager recovered it. The last game of the season against Louisiana Tech, Coach Mack allowed me to kick return in place of Tyler Irving, and that was a highlight of my career.
The Spartan players hope to make even more memories, this time at the professional level.
the 3-day event will begin next Thursday in Chicago, Illinois. Live from the newsroom, Dustin Dorsey, Update News.
Thanks, Dustin. SJSU's bowling team competed in the National X-Bowling Tournament this past weekend. One Spartan bowler made a name for himself as he gained national recognition. Michael Tang represented SJSU in the 2015 X-Bowling Intercollegiate Team Championships. He bowled the first 7 strikes and beat 15 other teams to be crowned the champion.
It means everything to bring the first men's national championship back to San Jose State. It's really an honor. For myself, it'll get my name out there a little bit more, so hopefully bigger things will come after this.
Tang was also awarded as the national MVP for the 2014-2015 bowling season. His talent earned him a spot on the All-American team. While bowling is just a part of Tang's life, he plans to go pro in the future. Members of the SJSU women's club soccer team played their hearts out Sunday. It's their last game of the season. Rebecca Lapena has the story.
1, 2, 3, San Jose!
The SJSU women's club soccer put up a tough fight against Sonoma State. San Jose's offense controlled the ball, but Sonoma's defense remained strong. At the half, the Spartans were down 2-0. A pep talk from their coach motivated them to keep playing their best.
Well, we did really well in adjusting to the way the other team played. This team played quite differently than the team we played last week. More direct last week, and today they played a little more possession style.
After halftime, the Spartans were able to turn around and score their first goal. Faithful fans cheered for SJSU until the very end.
I really like supporting the team and the school and my best friends on the team, so I really like watching her play.
The final score was 3-1 Sonoma State. Although the Spartans came up short, they look forward to a stronger season next year.
Next season, definitely want to hold on to as many girls as possible, keep our roster high, and just get into shape for next season.
Club sports are not affiliated with the NCAA, but they still heavily compete and travel to schools around the West Coast. At South Campus, Rebecca Lapena, Update News.
And that's all I have for sports this week.
Thanks, David. Now let's check in with Spartan Daily reporter Arno Bryant to get a preview into upcoming Spartan Daily issues.
Thank you, Rebecca. This week the Spartan Daily has coverage of President Kayemi's Diversity Open Forum. He will also be reporting on the 40th anniversary of the fall of Saigon, entitled Nation United, Nation Divided, a documentary that explores the generation of gaps in ideology and cultural identity of 8 individuals who were affected by the end of the Vietnam War. For A&E, readers can find a constant review of Wally's performance at the Catalyst. Also, Raymond Bally shares his thoughts on Asian Pacific Islander Month in the opinion section. Lastly, esports and women's sand volleyball will be featured in the sports section. From Mac Ludstrom Newsroom, I'm Arno Bryant.
And that's all we have for this week's edition of Update News.
From all of us here, thanks for joining us, and see you next week.